guys. Nice beautiful Sunday out here in British Columbia. 9 in the morning. On my way to pick up my trailer, my 30-foot RV trailer that I rent out as a side gig. It's an hour and a half drive to pick that up. Stop somewhere, clean that up quickly, put some water in it, and off to the next renter for another week. Since I got a long drive, I figured I'll record a video regarding some terms. I notice a lot of people confuse the GVW versus the GVWR. Those two markings are completely two different things. Please do not confuse those. A lot of people do. They think it's the GVW is just the abbreviation of GVWR. It is not. Those are two completely different things. So I'll start with the GVR. So the GVR means gross vehicle weight rating. What that means is it's the total weight your vehicle's suspension and tires components are able to carry. The only place that determines the GVWR of your vehicle, of your box truck, is the manufacturer. When they manufacture the vehicle, they put this type of suspension in it, this type of transmission in it, this type of tires on it, to determine the safe weight that your truck can carry. And that's not a payload. Do not confuse that with how much your truck can be loaded with. That is the total weight, including the weight of your truck, any accessories you put on it. So basically, you take an empty truck, you fill it up full with diesel, then let's say you put a pallet jack in it too, then you put a bunch of accessories in it, a power tailgate, then you sit in it as well. That'll be the total weight of your truck. The GVWR is calculated by taking the GVWR, subtracting the total weight of your truck with all the fuel and everything, and the difference in weight that's left, that's how much weight you can actually load on your truck. So to find out your GVWR, you just open the door of your truck, and there should be either a sticker or some sort of a plate on the inside of the door on the frame that will tell you what the vehicle is rated to carry for the weight. So for example, my truck that I bought, the F750, it is rated at 14,969 kilograms. So in order for me to calculate how much weight I can put in the truck, I have to go weight my truck with all the accessories, with full fuel tank, and me in the truck, because that's going to be the maximum load that's going to be at when I leave a parking lot in the morning, right? So without any load in the truck. So the day I picked up the truck last week, I went to the scales, and keep in mind the scales are 99%. They're usually free when you stop by, especially at the hours when they're not working. The scales are always open, so just go to your nearest scale. That's what I did. I went after hours. It was about 7 or 8 p.m. I just went to the scales. There's nobody there. They're open. You just drive over the scale. There's a big screen that will tell you the weight of your truck. It doesn't weigh the whole truck at the same time. It weighs your axles. So I went with the front of my truck, which was 3,200 kilograms, and then I drove over with my rear axle. I put in the full fuel tank in it as well. And I drove over with my rear tires. It was 4,000 kilograms. So that means my total weight of the truck, just the truck itself, as is, the engine, the whole truck with me in it and the full fuel tank, was 7,200 kilograms. So what I do now is I take my GVWR, which is 14,969, and I subtract the weight of my truck, which was 7,200 kilograms. I'm not going to do the exact math right now, but I was left with what, about 7,700 kilograms. So 7,769 is what I was left with. My math is right. So 7,769 kilograms is the amount of weight I can safely put in the back of my truck for the loads. And I thought this was a 5-ton truck, but theoretically it ends up being more because it's not a 5-ton truck. It's technically a 7-ton truck, which is a big bonus for me. But you have to also consider the tires that are on your truck. Make sure you check on the tires. What are they rated for? I checked, my tires are rated for 3,600 kilograms per tire, which means I got 4 tires in the back. That's 36, 36, 36, 36, which brings me to 14,500 kilograms of weight that I can carry on those tires. And that's just the rear. If I add the front, that's another 7. So my tires are rated to carry over 21 tons of weight. That includes the truck, the loads, and everything. But as I said, we take the GVWR, subtract the weight of your truck, and that gives you the amount of payload you can put in your truck. For me, it's over 7.5 tons. So I can put 7.5 tons worth of stuff in my truck. But keep in mind, I haven't installed the tailgate yet. Tailgate is going to be fairly heavy as well. I just did it for now. But when I install my tailgate, I'm going to have to go re-weight my truck again, and then I'll determine how much exactly I'll be able to carry. I have to put a pallet jack in the truck, install the tailgate on the truck, full fuel tank, me in the truck, any accessories I want to put in the truck. Then I'll go weight it, and then I'll subtract, and I'll find out the number and the amount of load I can put on there. So that's your GVWR. That is how much the manufacturer says, hey, this truck in total can weigh this much and it'll be okay to drive on the road. So the GVW, on the other hand, is a gross vehicle weight. And that's a licensed weight that you can carry on the roads. The GVW will determine how much insurance you're going to pay. So the GVW cannot exceed the GVWR. So if your GVWR is 15,000 kilos, your GVW cannot exceed 15,000 kilos, because that's pretty straightforward. If your truck is only able to carry 15,000 kilograms, you cannot be licensed on that truck to carry any more weight on the road. So if you license yourself, when you go get an insurance, if you tell them I want to be licensed for 10,000 pounds, for 10,000 kilos, that's pretty low, because for me, if I consider my truck is 7,200 kilograms and I'm only licensed to be at 10,000 kilograms, I'll take 10,000 less the 7,200. I'm only left with 2,800 kilograms. The insurance is going to be cheaper, but if I get pulled over and my insurance is only for 10,000 kilos and I'm carrying fully loaded truck, which technically could be 14,969 according to my GVWR, I'll get a fine, because I am not paying enough to use the roads with so much weight on the road to cover all the damage that my truck does to the road. That's how they determine the insurance, because your truck is heavier. So if it's licensed to carry, so if the GVW license is 10,000 versus the 15,000, the 15,000 is going to pay more in the insurance because you do more damage to the road because of the weight. So yeah. So the GVWR is the total weight of your truck, and the GVW is the licensed weight that you can carry on the roads. So if you want to be fully loaded with your truck, you got to make sure basically that your GVW is exact match of your GVWR, so you can have a fully loaded truck. Once again, go to, if you have a truck, or once you pick up a truck, because usually the trucks will not say how much the truck weighs, and because there's just so many options you can put on the truck. So the manufacturer, they do not put how much the truck weighs from the factory, because let's say for my truck F750 from Ford, it only comes as cab and chassis, that's it. And then whatever you put on top of it, whether it's a flat deck, whether it's a crane, whether it's a dump truck or a box truck, it all varies in weight, right? So they do not put what the what the tare weight, curb weight, truck weight on the truck, because it will all depend what kind of accessory you're going to put on the back of your truck. So that's pretty much it, right? So the GVW is the license weight you are legally allowed to carry with that truck, and the GVWR is the licensed, not licensed, but a weight that the truck is rated to carry, including its own weight. Hopefully that explains it a little better for you guys. But you can go to the scales. You can even go there during the working hours, during the business hours with your truck. You just drive over the scale. They'll tell you, you don't. It takes pretty quick. I don't know if you've ever been to the scale, but it goes pretty quick. You pull up, you stop for a second, not even a second, half a second. You barely kind of just roll through the scale, because it's a fairly small scale. It's not a scale that you see at like garbage dumps where your full vehicle is weighted. They weight your axles, right? So if you have 2 axles, you have to drive over the weight scale twice. For the 18-wheelers, they got like 5, 6 axles, including the trailer. They have to stop with every axle on the weight scale. So you drive over with the front, they'll tell you this much. You quickly drive over with the rear axle. You just roll through it, because I don't know, it's about 5-6 feet. So you kind of just roll through it, and you'll be able to see the weight in front of you on the screen, right? And one more thing I'd like to recommend you guys do as well. What I was trying to find out last week is if there's a law to have stickers on your truck to show the commercial vehicle inspectors or anybody else how much your vehicle is GVWR is, or what the GVW is, or if your NSC number has to be displayed. In British Columbia, I found out it's no longer required to put those numbers on your truck, because when they pull your license plate, they have that information automatically shown in their computer. So you don't have to, it's not a requirement, it's not a law to put NSC number, GVWR on it. That's if you're staying within the city. If you start going into provincial and you're going across the border to the States, then you have to mark it, because let's say in the States, they can't really pull your license plate to find out what you're rated for. So you have to prove it by the paperwork that you should have in your truck all the time. But if you're staying within a 160, 200 kilometer radius within your city, you do not, at least in British Columbia, you're not required by law to display those numbers. You do not have to display what your truck is rated for. But the person told me, the inspector, the CVSC, the Commercial Vehicle Safety Enforcement Officer, he said I must display a company name on my truck somewhere. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be fancy logo, it could just be a printed name that my truck's NSC is operating under. So technically, right now, if I want to deliver loads, I want to remind you that I borrowed somebody else's NSC number to register and insure my truck. They run their own business. They're like completely other part of the province for me. They're just a friend of a family, friend of a friend of a friend. Doesn't matter. It's a farming business, so they don't really deliver for any freight brokers or anybody. They just do their own thing, but they have to get an NSC number. So for me to legally deliver loads right now, because I have their NSC number on my insurance, I would technically have to put their company name on my truck. So that way, when I go through scales or a CVSC officer pulls me over, they pull my plate and I would say under NSC number, because right now on my insurance it does mention their company name, the farm name, right? So when the CVSC officer pulls me over, it'll say NSC number and then NSC company name, and that company name should be on my truck. So when I get my own NSC number, and it's going to be my transport company name on there, I got to make sure on my truck that is actually required by law, according to the CVSC officer, that I have to have that name on my truck. That way they know it's not a stolen plate or something like that, right? All the trucks look the same. They're not going to go ahead and start checking VIN numbers. But if they pull it up, it's going to be ABC Transport NSC number. They look at my truck, boom, on the side of my truck it will say ABC Transport, right? So they know right away that the plates belong to that truck. So that is apparently a law in British Columbia for that purpose. But I would strongly recommend drive over to your commercial vehicle inspection stations, the closest one, they're nice guys to deal with. They are enforcement officers, they're not police officers, they're nicer to talk to. Just drive up to them. If any questions you got, just drive up, say hey. They're usually not busy 24/7 there, so during working hours they're sitting around there inspecting trucks, or they're operating a weight scale. But just walk up to them, just say hey, I'm looking for some educational information, I'm looking to get into a box trucking business, I'm wondering, should I require to put stickers on my truck that mention the GVWR, or do I have to put my company name on the truck? You can ask them many questions. If you cannot find it online in your province, just drive out to the weight station during the business hours, during the day, Monday to Friday, and they'll be more than happy to help you, because they want everybody to be safe and compliant on the road driving a commercial vehicle. So they'll be more than happy to help you and answer any questions you have. So that's a big thing too. Another thing I wanted to mention, guys, is driving around town. Keep in mind, when you drive a box truck, you're now a part of the commercial vehicle on the road. So you cannot drive on any road you wish to in the city. If you guys drive around the city, pay attention. There's a lot of signs you see that the trucks are allowed about this weight, the trucks are not allowed about this weight, or there could be a sign, a red sign crossed out with the truck that says completely no trucks allowed. So you guys have to follow those signs now as a box truck operator, because the vehicle is so heavy, you're only allowed to go into certain neighborhoods, certain roads. And for that purpose, I was trying to find a navigation for my phone where it would tell me where I can go or not, because with Google Maps you cannot do that. You cannot put your vehicle, the type of vehicle you drive, so it will take you any road, but it does not mean on your box truck you can actually go that way. So I've downloaded a navigation. I think it is USA based navigation, but it does work at least in Vancouver, and it tells me all the roads and everything. So technically it's for truckers, and US truckers go to Canada as well, so they're able to use it. It's called Hammer Navigations, HAMMER navigation. It is free to use, but what I like about it is you put in your height of your truck in there, because you gotta mind the bridges as well. So you put in the height of your truck in there, you put the width of your truck in there, you put the length of your truck in there, you put the weight of your truck in there as well. And based on that information, when you punch in the address you want to go, it will calculate the route for you to go. From my house to my closest weight scale is about 12-minute drive on a regular vehicle, if I punch it into Google Maps. But if I punch it into the truck navigation, it takes me about 32 minutes. So it takes me 20 minutes longer to get to the weight scale from my house, because I can't just go straight there. I have to take a lot of detours on the way there to actually make it. So I'll put a name in the description. It seems to be working so far. I'm not sure if it's going to work across Canada and other provinces as well. It is working in British Columbia here, which works pretty good. As I said, it will only take you to the roads where your height will be okay, so you don't hit any bridges or any low spots, and as well as the roads that are rated for the heavy trucks, because my truck is GVWR is 14,969. I have to make sure that the road allows trucks with that weight. And usually here in BC, I noticed it would be a green sign. It would say trucks are allowed to go straight or right with a weight of 11,000 kilograms and above, so I can take those roads. So that's another thing you're gonna have to make sure you watch out for. It's the weight and the certain roads, and it's not about the size really of the vehicle that they restrict to go on the road, because it's up to you as a driver to know if you're going to make that turn or not into that street. They cannot control that for you, because even a shorter vehicle, even a 20-foot vehicle can weigh 15,000 kilograms, or my box truck, that's 24-foot box plus the truck, that's over 30-foot truck, and it still weighs 15,000. So they cannot determine the size that goes on the road, but they can determine the weight. It's the weight they're concerned for, because the roads are not designed to carry a certain amount of weights, or the vice versa. They're designed, you have to go certain roads that are designed to carry that weight. and I'm sure, I haven't heard it from any friends that I know that drive a box truck, but I'm sure you will get fined if you drive in the no truck zone, where it says no truck and you drive through there. There's exceptions. When you're making a local delivery, you are allowed to go in there into the neighborhood. Let's say you picked up a load. Let's say you picked up a couch. Just for example, you picked up a couch or a dresser or a vanity or something like that from a warehouse, but you have to deliver it to a residential address. Even though it says no trucks allowed, you're still okay to drive in there because you have to make a delivery. It's only for local deliveries that's allowed to go in there. You still drive in there, even if you get pulled over in the neighborhood. You're saying, hey, you know, I'm going to this house right here, I just gotta make a drop, that's it. So, but you're not allowed to just drive through that neighborhood for no reason. I'm sure if you do, you get pulled over, you'll get a fine. So once again, GVWR rating is the total weight your truck is able to carry, including itself, which is the tear/curb weight. And the GVW is what you're insured and licensed to carry. So those are two different things. You got to keep that in mind. So that's pretty much it, yeah, guys. And check out that navigation. As I said, I'll post the name of it in the description. So far, I've only driven with it for a couple of days on my box truck, practicing it, seeing which way it's gonna take me and stuff like that. And it works so far. I haven't hit any bridges, and I've been going through the roads that are allowing the trucks so far as well. Seem to be working okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Enjoy your Sunday, and we'll talk to you later. You take care.